Hi everyone, welcome to JavaScript coding interview series. In today's video, you have to find the object.freeze output of the below code and you have to provide a valid reason why you have selected that particular answer. And you have to please note that the strict mode is enabled. Okay, so we are enabling the strict mode using the use strict invocation, and we are having an object of name. Okay, it is having a key name and it is having an empty object within that. And then what we are trying to do, we are trying to freeze that object. Okay, object dot freeze of the constant object that we have created, and on that particular frozen object, what we are trying to do, object dot name dot first name equal to test. We are trying to assign a new key to the name object within that, and then we are trying to print that console.log of object.name.firstName. Okay, and there are four options. The first option is when we are trying to access first name, you will be getting a type error, cannot add property first name, object is not extensible, because we have used freeze. And the second option is undefined, the third option is test, and the fourth option is an object with key first name and an empty value. Okay, so please try from your end and see what is the output you are getting. So let's try from our end and see what is the output we are getting. I have this particular script available in the test.js file, and this particular script I am calling in the index.html, as you can see here. So let me run this and see if everything is running fine. Okay, so I am running this, so I can see yeah, so now it is there. So for the moment, let me comment this console. Okay, and in the browser let me open it. So in the browser let me refresh it and open this. Okay, so the console is now available over here. So this is our question. Okay, so we have to find the freeze output, and we are trying to assign a value first name to the name key, and we are trying to print that out, right? And we are actually enabling the strict mode. Okay, so we have to know what is strict mode and non-strict mode. So before that, we will see what is an object.freeze doing. We will do to then existing object. So object.freeze method actually freezes an object. What does that mean? It means that it will be preventing extensions. Okay, we cannot add it can no longer be changed. Okay, the existing properties, it cannot no longer be changed, new properties cannot be added, and existing properties cannot be removed. Okay, either the delete, you know, right, the delete keyword can be used to remove a property. Even that cannot be done once an object is freezed. Okay, their configurability, writability, everything is cannot be changed. And freeze actually returns the same object that was passed in, and freezing an object is the highest integrity level that JavaScript provides. So I have a constant object subject JavaScript and rating 9. So let me show you this one. Okay, so I have this particular constant object with two key, one is subject and rating. Subject is having a value of JavaScript, and rating is having a value of 9. Now if I try to change object dot subject value to say for example Angular, okay, I can do that, and let me print the object console.log of obj. Okay, so let me print this. So you would be able to see that the subject value has been updated, and okay, identifier. Okay, so obj is already there, so let me put it as obj1, because in the question obj is already there, right? So now if I see the output, right, so you can see the subject has been updated from JavaScript to Angular, and the rating is still the same. So now what I will do is I will try to delete obj1 dot rating. So you know, right, so delete can be used to delete a property from an object. So once I am doing that and doing the console again, then you can see that rating will be removed and only subject will be available. Okay, now the object 1 is having only subject Angular. Now on top of this I am trying to do object.freeze. Okay, object.freeze of obj1. Okay, so now I am freezing that, but I'm thinking later that I need to update obj1 dot subject to TypeScript. Okay, I need to update from Angular, I need to update to TypeScript, but before that itself I have freeze the object. Now if I try to console the object1, you would be surprised to see that it will throw an error. Okay, so cannot assign to read only property subject of object. Okay, so now the subject property has now become a read only property. Okay, so it has thrown this type error, but if I remove this use strict and if I just comment that out, okay, I am commenting that out, then you would be surprised to see that there are no errors. Okay, it actually print the other console as well. In the earlier case, as because of this type error, it didn't print this console, but because of this non-strict mode, it has actually printed this console. So that is the advantage of using strict mode. Okay, when we use strict mode, it will throw error. Okay, so what is strict mode? Strict mode actually eliminates the silent error. Okay, if we create it as a non-strict mode, there will be silent errors and we will not be able to actually see that. But if you use a strict mode, it eliminates the silent errors which JavaScript throws, and it will actually throw if it is a type error, it will throw that error. Okay, so that we can actually fix the mistakes that we are actually doing while actually creating our code, right? So it actually enables us to make optimized code, you can say, for example. So it's always preferred to use strict mode wherever possible, and the error that is thrown you can actually fix while you are actually building the code. Okay, building the functionality. So this is what freeze does. Okay, so you will not be able to change the existing properties, or you cannot remove that property, even delete, right? So after object has been freezed, and if you are trying to delete obj1 dot subject, okay, earlier you were able to delete rating, but it will not be able to delete the subject as well. You cannot remove that, cannot delete property subject. Okay, so that's what freeze does. You cannot actually remove or change the existing properties. Okay, so the object being frozen is immutable. Okay, but it is saying that, however, it is not necessarily constant, and it is a shallow freeze. When you are trying to do an object dot freeze, the object being frozen is immutable, and but it is not necessarily constant because it is doing a shallow freeze. Okay, so the result of calling object.freeze only applies to the immediate properties of the object itself and will prevent future property addition. You cannot add a new property to the object because of the use of freeze. You cannot actually remove or value reassignment operations only on object. If the value of those properties are objects themselves, those objects are not frozen. Okay, so in this particular case, in our question, okay, let me remove all those things. Okay, it is saying that obj is actually freezed, but name itself is another object, so that is not frozen. Okay, that is not frozen, only the immediate properties of this one is frozen. Okay, if the value of those properties are objects themselves, if it is another object, then those objects are not frozen, and maybe the target of the property addition, removal, or value reassignment operations. Okay, so in this case, what we are trying to do, we are trying to add first name to the property of the object, but the property itself is an object. Okay, in this case, then it would not be frozen. That's what it's saying. So now when we try to console.log of obj.name of first name, what will happen? We would be able to print that successfully. That's what freeze doing. So that will be object.freeze. So you can see here test is getting printed. So object.freeze is the object is frozen, but the property, if the property is also an object, then those objects are not frozen. So it is a shallow freeze. You can, there is a deep freeze and a shallow freeze. So the object.freeze does a shallow freeze. Okay, so there are other cases where you have to do a deep freeze, then you can explore more on that, but in this case it is a shallow freeze, and you will be able to modify the objects, nested objects within that. So obj.name, we are able to add this first name key, and we are able to add the value test, and we are able to print the value successfully. So and hence C option would be the right answer. And so that's it. So that's it regarding object.freeze, and you can explore more on the strict mode and non-strict mode, and when you have to throw the error and when you need not do that. Okay, so that part you can explore more on that. So that's it for today's video. Thanks a lot for watching.